Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogley's Guitar Show. Well, it's been about a month and a half, but I finally have an update to the Trade Tuesday series. Last time I left you guys was when I did the N225 review. That did not take too long for me to sell it. We ended up netting $971 out of that, so we made about $120. So our grand total bank amount was $1,113. So I've been hunting for about a month, and I've came across so many deals that were like $50 off of what we had, but I wanted to play it fair, so I just kept waiting and waiting for something to show up within this dollar amount. And of course, once I bought what I got today for $870, then a bunch of other cool stuff shows up. That's the way it goes, but I'm not trying to cheese this series. So let's go ahead and see what I purchased for this installment of Trade Tuesday Season 3. So we've kind of been going down a junior kick this week. I think I've reviewed, 2 or 3 other ones so far. And this is also another junior, but it's a limited edition one that I've kind of wanted to check out. And this exact guitar in here, it's kind of actually avoided me, because I remember the first time this was listed on the used market. I tried to make a deal for it then, and it didn't end up working out for me. But it just happened to get listed again. Oops, that's not this guitar. My bad. I do believe this is actually the guitar I'm looking for, so we'll finish unboxing that one when I do this episode. Alright, starting again here. I saw this when it was first listed on the secondhand market. I missed out on it at that point in time. But it just happened to show up again. I think it was in California. So let's go ahead and throw this up here and take a quick look at what kind of junior this is and what makes it special. An SG Junior. Wow, how does this have so much dust? It's almost a brand new guitar. Jeez, this thing's actually going to need a cleanup. I was not expecting that. What's going on with this Gibson headstock? Was I sold a fake guitar? That's what so many people would think if you brought this thing out to your next gig. They'd be like, what is going on with this guitar? But no, this was actually a limited edition run in 2018. I'm not quite sure how many they made. I don't think they ever actually officially said. But this is the pre-war Gibson style logo. You can find it on really old Gibsons. You can find it on the Les Paul Artisan. I think the next most recent time for this particular run was actually a Guitar of the Week model, where they had that inlaid in a Les Paul Classic Antique with the mother of pearl. That's one of my favorite ones because people always freak out thinking it's a fake. But the other reason why I remember this one is it's a beautiful ribbon mahogany going on here. Looks like a 2-piece body on this one, but it dances so much, and not all of them have this. So that's why I remembered this particular one. And the other unique thing about these is it has the only a Gibson is good enough banner on the back side of it. And they made SG Juniors like this particular one, and they also did a Les Paul one in this variant. So I think if you're going to pick up one of these more boring juniors that only have one pickup, there's nothing, too fancy about them, I would suggest, going for one of these 2018s, because I think as these age and more people find out about, this goofy logo that was only used for 1 year and the banner on the back, there's some historical significance to there. So I think these will actually hold and maintain value much better than the original collection ones of today. I mean, we're not talking crazy inflating, but if you're worried about your guitar holding value, these things have something special, so at least we have something to talk about today. So let's go ahead and throw this one on the workbench. We'll clean it up, take an individual look at its parts and specs, and then we'll get to a quick playing demo. Wow, this guitar definitely needed a little bit of TLC in the cleaning department, but I got all that gunk off of this, so now it's a beautiful example of this again. So without your pickguard on, you can see your neck tenon here. It is a long neck tenon, and that's just the way they did it. If you're wondering what this stripe is, that is the maple that they used to cap off the truss rod. And sometimes SG neck tenons can be a little bit scary looking, but this is one of the best ones I've seen. And now we move on to the one single dog ear P90. Now that I've been reviewing a bunch of juniors, I've decided I'm not a dog ear P90 guy. I think it looks cool, but I prefer the soap bars because they're a little bit less of a profile. And I just feel like you have a little bit more room to go. Like that Kazuyoshi Saito Les Paul, it feels like you have so much room because it's just a tiny little soap bar. But these things, I've decided I don't like this whole style. But back here, it just says P90 dog ear pickup. And the route looks much nicer on this one than it did on my Brian Ray. It says VE for Vintage Cherry. I think C actually stands for a different color. That's why Cherry is an E. And then SG Junior looks like 2018. That's a pretty clean cavity in here. I'm impressed. Sometimes the Juskowitz era can be a little bit scary. But other times you get cool guitars like this. And then this is just a regular rat tail style bridge. This one, it's got a little bit of aging. I tried to clean it off, but that's just on there. And this one is done up by Advanced Plating Incorporated. It's a full weight tail piece. It does not have any compensation, but you can see that it kind of comes to a point right here. And then you adjust your intonation to the best of your abilities with these little rocker screws like this. If you tuned into my Brian Ray SG Junior custom shop review, we said that that one was thicker. I want to measure this one just to see how much different it is. Looks like this one's like 1.36, whereas the other one was 1.41. So they didn't make that too much thicker, but it is a little bit thicker. But beautiful wood that they used on this one. It's got our classic cherry color on here, and wow, that's why I wanted this one. Because it's just such a fantastic example of one of these with all that ribbon dancing. Some people don't like this though. But on our other side here, we just have a master volume and a master tone with our output jack on the front. And this is what it would look like if you decided to take that pickguard off. But the pickguard itself is 5-ply, black-white, and here's the back side of that. And our pickup reads 7.97k ohms. No fancy electronics on this guy. But unfortunately, the neck profile, this is the profile I hate on SGs. It's very thin with some shoulder. But we've got a rosewood fretboard with 22 medium jumbo frets, and this was back when they were cryogenically treated, which is supposed to help make your frets last longer. But this was definitely someone's player, and it's only showing very minor signs of fret wear, so that appears to have been doing its job. But I do want you to understand there is a little bit of fret wear within these first couple of frets, and that you'll have to treat right away. Got the 24 3/4 inch scale length with a nut width of 1.7 inches, which increases to 2.09 by the 12th. First fret neck depth 0.83 and 0.88 by the 12th. Moving on to the face of the headstock, the truss rod cover does have a lot of scratching. I'm not really sure what caused that, but it is there. But our truss rod is in fantastic shape, and there is that interesting Gibson logo. I personally dig it. I wouldn't want them to use it all the time, but on these limited edition models, I think it's a really nice touch. Moving on to the back, this is also the era where they use the built-in shielding plates. Sometimes these work well, other times they don't, and you need to shield off on top of it. But what I was surprised to see in here was this. You actually have hand-wired pots in here. I was really expecting some sort of PCB system, but no, Gibson branded pots, hand-wired to the output jack. And if you wanted to add another pickup in this thing, you do have additional room right here to drill through for 3 additional controls. But other than that, just a beautiful guitar here on the back as well. No additional routing. We've got the large strap button styles in our usual SG locations. Moving on to the neck, you've got a few light impressions on this thing. But thankfully, despite being played a lot, it doesn't look like there's any finish worn off the neck. I'm sure Blacklight Test on this one will be rather interesting. But here's a close-up of our banner. Only a Gibson is good enough. So this one's got 2 throwbacks, because normally this would have been on the face of the headstock, if you go back to the banner era. But I kind of like it that they put it on the back, because some people have a problem with this old slogan. But this is a 2018 model, so that means we use the first 2 digits for this particular year. Gibson did that from 2014 until early 2019. And we're still going by the model year system that they just recently got rid of. As far as tuners, we get our white button Gibson Clusen Deluxe style here. Now that we got it all put back together, it was funny how loose these tuners were. They weren't even tightened at all, so I wonder if this guy actually sold it because he couldn't keep it in tune. Properly reassembled, this thing weighs 7 pounds, 5.9 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this thing sounds. Now that we know all about the throwback SG from 2018, what are my final thoughts on this thing? You know, despite not liking this neck profile that much, I really enjoyed this guitar. I was just surprised by it. I'm not much of an SG guy, but I do enjoy a Junior that has a proper wrap tailpiece because this guitar has that really slinky feeling to it. I mean, this is tuned up to standard tuning even, and it's just, you just want to wail away on this thing. The bends are super easy, and it's a really resonant guitar at the same time. When you strum it, and then you hear it up here, it kind of sounds like an acoustic guitar with the attack when you really listen to it up close with your ear. The tones were phenomenal out of this P90. It was definitely what I wanted to play today. Picking this thing up instantly inspired me, so maybe it's I like SG Juniors. I really don't think I've had one of these before. I've had many different variations of SGs, but I don't think I've ever had exactly this one. But once again, take a look at this beautiful figuring in the wood. So this model is a win for me. Kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you're going to get an SG Junior, you might as well get one that has a little bit of a fanciness to it. But now the big question. The battle of the Juniors. Which one did I actually end up preferring? This one. Isn't it funny how sometimes the cheaper ones end up feeling and playing better? I like the neck on this guy a little bit better. They both have that flat back going on, but this one's just a little bit chunkier. They were both balanced on the strap though. I liked that. Maybe that's just something SG Juniors have got going for them. But I think why I ultimately preferred the feel of this one is because I have it set up as a wrap tailpiece. So I think I definitely need to get this thing converted over to that, and then this will also be a killer guitar. But I hope you guys enjoyed checking out these SG Juniors these past couple of days. This one's actually already been spoken for. I need to go ship it off to Canada here in a minute. But this one is now part of my trade series. You can email me your trade offers at tradetrogley@gmail.com. You can also find it for sale on my Reverb page. I'll leave a link in the description. I wonder where Trade Tuesday will take us next. Let's go ahead and check it out under Blacklight. Let's see what we can find. I was kind of expecting to see at least a little bit of sweat absorption based on how much this thing's been played. I really don't see too much evidence of that. So despite all the dust and stuff and the TLC that was needed on this thing, I don't think it was necessarily abused. It must have just sat on a stand and not actually got used that much because the fretboard was actually pretty clean on this thing. I decided to oil and condition it anyways. I guess you can see a little bit of sweat absorption here on the neck, but nothing too crazily excessive on this one. Awesome. As far as the case goes, we do have the original Gibson hardshell case, which is actually pretty nice. These things brand new were $1,429. So getting a case with this, as well as, you know, some of the other special features, it's kind of what made these things worth it back in the day. Even though back in the day was only 2 years ago, it seems like so long because so much has changed at Gibson in 2 years. But these are one of the final oddities of the Juskowitz era. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.